most of you, I think, have met me before, or we've come across each other in previous events. And the thing that I love to talk about is obviously LinkedIn. So it makes sense to do that again. We did in the previous one that I did in our first 80/20, has some similarities. So you might, if you were at that one, you might recognise some of what we're talking about. But in terms of this one, we're going to be talking about establishing LinkedIn as a sales generation tool. So you might already be using it and dabbling in it a little bit, but we're just going to talk through some little bits about how we can just make it a little bit better and get a bit more from it. But also to help you understand how things are, how you're doing on there, so things like the analytics and stuff and what they mean. So obviously I've only got 20 minutes. A lot of this content I put into 2-hour sessions, so you know I might just be scraping the surface on some stuff, but obviously we're open to chat. Myself and Matt over there. Matt is also one of our LinkedIn gurus, so he does some LinkedIn training as well, so if I'm not about, he can help. Firstly, let's have a little bit of quick fun. So, true or false? You're not allowed to answer that. So, if you think this is true, raise your left arm. If you think it's false, raise your right arm. Does that make sense? It's difficult for me, I can't remember what I've just told you to do. Men use LinkedIn as a substitute for Tinder 17 times more than women.
True.
So left is true, right is false. We're divided. There's some of this going on.
Can we put
It
two
is.
left hand?
It is in fact true. Scary that really, yeah. It's a bit. Another
Put the
one?
lipstick on then. Yeah, I'll look down.
How often does it work?
Brilliant. Well, I don't have that stat. This one, 89% of all members value LinkedIn as a trustworthy source of information, compared to 64% on Twitter and 37% on Facebook. True or false? True.
Oh, you're nuts.
Wow. And last one, 60% of B2B leads come from LinkedIn. True or false? Haha, it is more. It's a bit naughty there. It's false, it's actually 80%. So, very high. So, why is building your personal brand important? So when we talk about personal brand, we're going beyond the business brand. So it's about you as an individual. The pandemic has really kind of pushed that out there as well, that obviously people, it's not just about a business and what a business looks like, it's what a business is doing for its people and who is that person at the head of that business, or at least who's involved in that leadership in that business and becoming a bit more. So, why am I going down? People buy from people, we all know that. There's the B2B arena when you talk about business to business, we talk about business to consumer. Well, we don't talk about that anymore, we talk about human to human. Regardless of who you're working with, whatever their industry is, there is a human you are dealing with on the other side of that message, okay? Why is building your personal brand on LinkedIn important? So why particularly LinkedIn? Well, it's an easy one, that. There's 875 million people on LinkedIn, and that is raising all the time. 89% of all those members value LinkedIn as a trustworthy source. We just said that in the facts, in the true or false. So there's a huge opportunity there to reach people who you wouldn't necessarily reach in the normal daily life. So why wouldn't you look at pushing your personal brand on LinkedIn? That's more the question. But how do you do it? You need a strategy. So everyone who I've spoken to recently generally will say, I'm on LinkedIn, but I'm not really on LinkedIn. I'm doing it, I'm not really doing it. So when I get time, I just do it. That needs to stop. You need to think about having a strategy on LinkedIn. What is your plan? What do you intend to do? And build it into your business, into your daily schedule. make sure that you are time blocking time to do these actions and to make it an embedded sales tool. It's not just something that you can literally just do and overnight you will get success. It is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You're not just going to get success from posting a couple of times and then going, let's see what happens. You have to be consistent and keep going. So making a plan. You know, you probably could run a marathon without any training, but you're not going to hit any PBs or do very well. So why would you? You know, you would always do a bit of training. So if you don't get LinkedIn, then get some training on it and understand how you can get the most of it. Because if you're spending an hour and doing what you think is right, if you get some support and some training, you might actually only need to do 20 minutes to do what's right. Okay? Wrong way. So, when planning, you should think about treating your profile as a landing page. This is essentially what it is. The difference between LinkedIn and Facebook and all the other ones is that LinkedIn is a networking tool. It is a website. There's all these people, it's at your disposal. Your profile needs to do everything that your website landing pages do. So we need to think about the funnel. Think about a sales funnel. So once you've managed to get somebody to your profile, is it successfully working them down the sales funnel? Is it providing them with information that will help throughout these stages? And at the bottom, are you telling them what to do? Are you giving them a call to action within your profile? Are you saying, right, you know, give me a call or get in touch or here's my Calendly link or whatever? Is there an opportunity for them to move forward? Taking full advantage of LinkedIn's profile tools. So LinkedIn is useful in the sense that it will tell you what else you can do to improve your profile. So that add profile section, you can work through that in order to gain more in terms of your search results, because the more that this is complete, the better that you will do in the search results. Okay? So spend some time on doing that and let LinkedIn guide you. There are some things where it'll suggest stuff and you can take it with a pinch of salt. But generally, if you fill in all of these sections out, you're adding rich media, you're putting in evidence, you're adding in any kind of PDFs that you've got into your career history, you're using that featured section, then there's no reason why you shouldn't see your rise and your amount of connections go up. There's also this new section, which you may not be aware of, called the services page. This is brilliant. This is so good. And it works. Spend some time setting that up. And what happens is when anybody will go on and they'll put looking for marketing services or whatever your services are, LinkedIn notifies you that somebody in your area is looking for that service. So you can jump straight on it. It's an opportunity just like that for you. And I've had that work. I've had a couple of times where I've actually gone on and commented and they've got in touch and we've then spoke. So it does work. You can upload samples. This is changing all the time. Like this, when I last trained, this was like half of this, and now they've shoved loads more features into it. So that tells us LinkedIn people who train it that it's not going away. It's something that they're embedding and they're working on it. So it's definitely worthwhile using it. You may find that some of the services provided are a bit limited at the moment because they're building it out. So you might not be able to put as many as I have. It might just be like one or two. Targeting the right people. So people always say to me, oh, I've got thousands of connections, or I don't have any connections. There never seems to be well, connections are all right. There's two negatives on both sides of that. If you've got so many connections that you don't actually manage them and work on them, then that's not great either, because, you know, what's the point? You've connected with all these people. Why? Do something with them. If you've not got many at all, then you need to start going out and actively looking for them. Don't sit and wait for people to connect with you. Do some work and look for them yourself. So, using this search function to find these people is going to really help. So, when you're thinking about your ideal audience, your ideal customer, use that up here. So you can see this example, we've put business owner. And then we can filter out using these filters to make our location in there And then that will give us a list full of lots of different people that we can then start to potentially talk to. There's lots more that once you've done this, how you then connect with them and you know, build on that, but that's another day, I'm afraid. Keep going the wrong way. Engaging, nurturing and growing. So something that a lot of people do, they'll post and they'll go, stop doing that. If that is any of you that are doing that, stop it. You need to be spending time on that platform. You can't just go on and post and go. You have to engage and be there and be present on the platform and use it. So before you post, spend a bit of time searching around, looking at some other posts, interacting with other posts, putting a couple of comments on, then post, and then repeat. Do the same. Spend a bit more time engaging, and then remember to engage with any comments and keeping that conversation going on your own. One other thing that you could do, look, top tip, is go back to an old post and comment on it again later, and it re-engages that post, so it shoots it back out again. Okay? Wrong way again. So post, comment, interact.
Do you mean one of your old posts or something else?
Yeah, one of yours. Yeah. Creating an audience-focused content plan. So thinking about your audience when you create your content, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but so many people don't. They just stick some on because they feel like they have to. You don't. My advice, create some personal content pillars and do it today when you leave. So what do we mean by this? Mine, I have a personal column and I have a promotional column. My personal stuff, I'll talk about being a twin mum. I talk about mental health because that's really important to me. That's something I'm very passionate about. I talk about spinning all the plates, as we all do, all as twin mums, or any mum, to be fair. And any business lessons, anything I've learned along the way in my career that I can help and guide people. Over here, it's all the promotional side, so it's everything related to Xpand, essentially. Team posts, you'll see sometimes if you follow me, you'll see I'll talk about the promotions within the business, or, you know, Fran's just passed a probation, I put something up about that, you know, because that's nice, it's a motive. Sharing expertise, so anything I put on about LinkedIn, any, you know, advice, any tips that I have, that would all kind of fall into this side, because it's all to do with business. Yes, I'm passionate about what I do, but I have a life as well, and I have a personal life. And actually, when it comes to my audience, they're interested in some of this stuff as well, because they're usually either in the same scenario, maybe not a twin mum, but they're a parent, or they're balancing the business and the parenting. So they usually can relate to something that I'm talking about. So thinking about that. And you'll recognise that, 80-20. That's what this is called, that's where this came from. 80% of your content should be personal. 20% should be promotional. There is a slight overlap when, you know, technically when I'm talking about the team, that could be more in the 80%. So I'm not too, you know, dead strict on it, but I won't put any promotional, come and work with Xpand, come and, you know, do this outside of that 20%. So say, for example, you do 3 posts a week, 2 need to be personal, 1 promotional. Okay?
What's the logic behind that?
It's just in terms of your general content and just awareness of, it's always been a rule, an unwritten rule within marketing. So we were taught it in my marketing diploma. It's very much that people don't care about promotional. You still need to get that in. It's like the 4-2-2 rule as well. So you still need to get that in there, the promotional side, but actually people don't. They don't care about that shit. And lastly, testing and analysing, and then testing again. Now, one of the annoying things about our job is that social media, always testing and measuring, always. You just constantly have to review what you're doing. You know, you can sometimes put the same post out twice, and just because it's a different time of day, it does better. And it's really frustrating, but that you need to do that, and it doesn't change because it's your personal posting. It's exactly the same logic. So
what's your advice with people who actually struggle to or I'm not sure about posting things that are personal.
Right, if you're struggling with it.
No, I'm not struggling, but
What's the problem?
I'm not sure what's appropriate. Like, you know, there's stuff that maybe is not nobody's
Yeah.
business. How do you go about just choosing the right thing?
I worry that everything I would say this personal is completely boring and no one would care.
You'd be very surprised. Very surprised. I'm going to show you some examples in a bit, but we can have a talk after if you want. I'm just limited to 20 minutes, so. Those with an SSI score of 70 or more have an average increase in reach of 25%. This is from the lovely Richard van der Blom, who's one of my besties.
What's SSI?
Sorry?
What is SSI?
I'm going to tell you.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. He did some algorithm research. He does it every year, where he just does lots of testing and measuring. So this is a nice statistic from him. Basically, the SSI score, this is what it looks like. You all have an SSI score. If you have a LinkedIn profile, you have an SSI score. So if you Google SSI score, it'll come up, LinkedIn, get your SSI score, have a look, see where it is. This needs to become something you do regularly, looking at it to see how you appear. So I took this one yesterday for mine. It updates every 3 days and it gives you different areas of how you can improve your scoring and what you need to do more. I don't have time to tell you what you need to do, and people pay for me to tell them what they need to do, so sorry guys.
So that's you, 70 out of 100?
That is me.
So if you're 70, how the chuff do I get above 70?
I wouldn't worry. Like, if you can get to 70, then that's good. That's all right. Because you have to pay premium to get so much higher. You won't ever get 100 without having premium. So 70 is a good score. Decent. Could improve it maybe by a couple, but yeah. I'm all right with that. I've only posted twice, I think, this week, so it's not bad. The dashboard. So you all have your own dashboard. They're private to you. Nobody else can see them. There's lots of information that I can tell you and how to use these. It basically gives you info on who's viewing your profile. It is limited because, again, it wants you to pay so that you can see more. But the stuff that it gives you is enough to give you somewhere to start. It gives you post impressions and it gives you search appearances. It tells you what the titles of the people are that are finding your page, so you can make sure, actually, are my keywords on my profile attracting the right kind of people. So there's a lot that you can do with it. The one I wanted to focus on is the post impressions. Get used to looking at this and understanding what your posts are telling you, how they're performing. It gives you a lot of insight into how the impressions are performing, what the engagement's like. So it's all right to have, if you've got 15,000 impressions on a post, but you've only got 65 engagements, what does that tell you about that post?
It's boring.
You know, it's not great. So you can actually potentially reuse that post, but maybe you just change the language a little bit, or maybe you change the hook or the picture. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. You can just use things and just tweak them and find out what works. Over here as well, you can see how the performance runs in terms of how your impressions are going and your engagement. So you can see where there's a spike. And you could be like, right, okay, well, what did I post? What time did I post that day? Is that made a difference? Was there something going on? Was there a national event that I was talking about? So you can actually really use these to dig in to see what you're doing, if it's working.
Where's that board again?
This is within your dashboard, so it's in this section.
Okay, thank you.
Each of your posts as well, when you look at your posts on your own, you can see view analytics and that'll take you in as well. So, does it work? This post, you probably saw it, I wrote about the snug. Nothing to do with work in terms of Xpand's promo, nothing to do with anything other than me just saying, I like this, look at this, look what Jag's done. This blew out of the water. I was like, what the, honestly, it shocked me how well it did, because I, like you just said, I was like, who's going to give a shit about a snug? My God, a lot of people give a shit about a snug. I was like, Jesus. So, you can see when you go into the analytics, you can see how many people saw it, how many people reacted, the comments, 71 comments. I was like, Jack, I can't keep up. Like, head was bursting in the area. Like, randomly had a repost of it, which was a bit weird, but you know, didn't question it, just moved on. And then you can filter out, so you can see the job titles, the industry, things like that. Now for us, for me, ultimately, Xpand, you know, the type of people we're targeting, managing director, owner, founder, I was happy with that. And then when I filtered it out to industry, I had construction, manufacturing, they're who we work with. So I was bloody happy with that, I'm honest. And all it was a snug post.
So with the job titles, are you then changing your post to try and...
So yeah, that's
Some
all
of my
around
posts is people
search
in my industry,
engine.
and I'm like, I don't want you looking at it, fucking off.
It's there's a lot of science in that. Who you're connecting with already, who you've got connections, what you're liking, what you're engaging with.
Okay.
The algorithm's got to learn what you want to see and what you want to be connected with. So be very careful about who you're
So, Jack,
connecting
are you
with.
concerned that 650 recruitment consultants are engaging in
What percentage
Hey,
of users on
They might be running businesses as well. You never know. I did used to work in recruitment as well, so it's probably a lot of my old connections. Chris Makin, we've been working with Chris for a very long time here at Xpand. He's a highly experienced chartered forensic accountant and mediator wherever Simon's gone. He was like, he's a mediator as well. Okay. So for Chris, I did some LinkedIn training with him, and we've since been working on him with his article posting. So whenever he does a blog, we then work on getting his article out on LinkedIn. And as you can see, this was feedback that we had from him just before Christmas. 3 new jobs in the last week, and when a job for me is typically £5,000 to £10,000, it's very worthwhile. And in fact, just fully committed now until Christmas. So, and that was just from us working on some article posting and supporting him with his posting. Tracy, the lovely Tracy, works commercial finance specialist. I worked with Tracy and the team, and we worked on the commenting strategies. We talked about, you know, what else to do in order to build your profile out rather than just posting. And Tracy actually messaged me to say that she used the commenting strategy, and she basically ended up talking to a guy who never would have found her. It was because he'd seen that comment, and now this was just before Christmas a while back. He was looking to purchase up to 50 properties in the next 5 years, and she currently had 3 deals, which would be worth £6,000 in commission. So, and lots more to come. So yes, it does work. And that's me. Is that 20 minutes?